The Green Bay Packers went down on Sunday night, but they didn't go down without a fight. They went down swinging. They showed heart, they showed toughness, and they showed a lot of flaws. But they also showed promise. We're not into moral victories on this show, but there is a lot to take out, both positive and negative. This is as loaded a game in terms of things that we have to talk about as I can remember all season. Let's get into all of it right now.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. The Green Bay Packers fell to the Philadelphia Eagles 40-33 on Sunday night. And in the first quarter, it looked like this game was over. Philadelphia on the opening possession goes 10 plays, 75 yards, and they make it look easy. The Packers have no answer for a scrambling quarterback. Where have we seen that movie before? Aaron Rodgers on the ensuing possession throws a YOLO interception to Allen Lazard, ball back across his body, and the Eagles take it in, and it is 13-0. The game felt over. And what I wanted to see was a team fight. Remember, we talked about this last week. It is important for Matt LaFleur and the culture of this team that they don't give up, that they don't lose faith in Matt LaFleur. These kinds of seasons can take a serious toll on the faith that the players have in the coaches. And so if you do not keep fighting, and you as a coach, Matt LaFleur, do not give your players a chance, then you will lose them. But the Packers, at least offensively, kept fighting. They go down and they score. It's 13-7. The Packers get a stop, a turnover on downs on two short yardage situations. Those are all about heart. That's all about want to. That's all about I care about this moment because it is low man wins. It is scratch, claw, gouge. Third and short, fourth and short. They get the stop. The Packers take the lead. It's 14-13. And the Eagles return serve. They go up 20-14. Aaron Rodgers throws the interception. I think reasonable people can disagree on how and why that happened. And I thought it was a bad decision. Kurt Benkert, former quarterback for the Packers, said, that's on the tight end. Okay, either way, it's a turnover. But the Packers get it back. They get the fumble back. Rudy Ford makes a great play. Quay Walker turns it into a huge play. And you get a touchdown. You miss the extra point. They kept fighting in this game. They kept fighting. And right down until the end, it is 34-20. The Packers go down, they get the field goal. It's 34-24. The Eagles come back, they get their field goal to make it 23-37. And Aaron Rodgers is out. He's hurt. Well, we're going to find out the extent of this injury pretty soon, I'm sure, but we are currently live after the game. We don't have that information right now. If someone reports it, throw it in the chat. We are live on YouTube. If you're not here, come be with us. It's fun. And Jordan Love comes in and leads 2 scoring drives. 2 drives, 10 points. Missed a potential touchdown on the second drive, but hits Christian Watson. Had a great throw to Lazard on the out. Made a beautiful honey hole shot to Aaron Jones that is dropped against too high. He looked fast. He looked decisive. He looked like he was seeing, and he looked like he was playing with poise. The ball flying out of his hand. A really impressive performance, I thought, from Jordan Love. And you're getting not quite, right, the Aaron Rodgers in 2007. I thought it was interesting. Almost to the day, 15 years. It was the 29th. Right now it's November 27th. Almost to the day. And remember, Aaron Rodgers did not lead a successful comeback in that game either. The Packers lost that game. But he looked good. Now he got more of a run. Who knows what this would have looked like with more of an opportunity with Jordan Love, with a full game. Clearly the injury was bothering Rodgers. Clearly the thumb was bothering Rodgers. There were some throws that were awesome. There were some throws that were a little wobbly, and it's like, okay, is that the thumb? Is that, what is the situation there? Getting to see that is really promising. Now, does that mean that he's now ready to go, that he's ready to be the future? I don't know. We'll see. But you know who is? You know who's ready to be the future right now? Christian Watson. Christian Watson did what he does, I guess now every game, and he dropped the first pass to him. But then he comes back on 4th down, makes the catch over the middle of the field, gets popped, holds on, they convert, it turns into a score. Jordan Love comes in, they play action, middle of the field, they run strike, a play that they've been running all season. And I've been telling you on this show, Christian Watson is going to score on one of those. And I told you when they were hitting them to Sammy Watkins against the Bears, I said, if that's a receiver with more juice than Sammy Watkins has, those can be touchdowns. Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk turn those into touchdowns. Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp, they turn those into touchdowns. Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson can turn those into touchdowns. Watson finishes with 4 catches for 110 and a touchdown. He's a star. He's a star. I mean, what a great sign for the Packers that in a game where you don't have Romeo Doubs and, you've had to relegate Sammy Watkins to mop-up duty, basically. And in a game where you had to go out and score a bunch of points, you put up 33 where a quarter was spent with Jordan Love at quarterback. But Christian Watson, he's good enough to make a 20-yard into 60 yards. And Jordan Love is good enough to convert 3rd and 5 on a far hash out route to Alan Lazard. Gorgeous throw. Those are all good signs for this offense. It is a shame the defense is so bad and was so bad in this game that you just had no shot. You had no shot. The defense was supposed to, the plan coming into the season was the defense was supposed to be good enough that while the offense really found its groove, and over the last few weeks, I think it's easy to see the offense has found its groove in a way that it hadn't for most of the season. 30 now, 2 of the last 3 weeks against really good defenses. And the defense for the Packers just can't hold up their end. We're going to talk more about that coming up. This episode is brought to you by Audible. Audible is releasing a slate of new podcasts that we're sure you're going to love. Find Block Forever now wherever you get your podcasts. Block Forever is a brand new podcast from former NFL All-Pro Ryan Khalil and Audible. Khalil takes the conversations about football to the next level, giving fans an insider's look at the game through the eyes of the greatest players and personalities. You'll hear from Christian McCaffrey and others, Juju Smith-Schuster, give honest opinions about other players in the league. New episodes of Block Forever will be recorded and released every week ahead of Thursday Night Football. Catch the full Block Forever series available anywhere you get podcasts. It's available everywhere now. Audible. Get in the game. I need to. What's the deal with Joe Barry? Huh? What's the deal? What's the deal? 363 total yards on the ground for the Philadelphia Eagles. They averaged 7.4 yards per rush. Jalen Hurts averaged 5.5 yards per pass. What is happening? What is happening? Guys don't seem to be sure of where they want to be. Guys can't get off blocks. That is a personnel problem, not a scheme problem. But it was a bad plan. I thought it was funny. Chris Collinsworth in the game is talking about, oh, Joe Barry adjusted from a bad plan. Why are you playing nickel and dime against this team when they want to run the ball down your face? Not even your throat, your whole face. And that's exactly what they did in this game. And it's not just the scheme. You have a spy, Quay Walker. That's what you drafted Quay Walker to do, to be the guy who is a sure tackler, was one of the surest tacklers in college football last season. And to have the athleticism to make sure a guy like Jalen Hurts doesn't beat you. He didn't do it. And either did Isaiah McDuffie, and either did when you have the alley defenders come up, they couldn't make tackles. Kenny Clark had Jalen Hurts dead to rights in the backfield. Devontae Wyatt had Jalen Hurts dead to rights in the backfield. Isaiah McDuffie had Jalen Hurts dead to right in the backfield. So a lot of this is the players just have to play better. But also a lot of it is this was the most points the Eagles have scored in a first half in 5 years, according to Sheil Kapadia at The Ringer. Yes, the Eagles are a good offense. They're very difficult to prepare for. This was historically bad. One of the 10 worst rushing defensive performances in the Super Bowl era. So what I ask again is the deal? Because there's no adjustment really, and there's no answers. Clearly no answers. And look, very soon we will have discussions about potential candidates and guys that could be out there. Jim Leonard, of course, is going to be a name that I bring up, but there are other candidates. Whether or not they should have hired Ejiro Evero, who is now coordinating an excellent defense in Denver. That conversation is going to come back up. The degree to which this defense needs to be totally overhauled, I think, is in question. But clearly there is both a personnel and a coaching problem. This is not just on the coaches, but the coaching is a problem. The scheme is a problem. That's coaching. And look, you talk about Joe Witt. This has been an issue every time the Packers have a situation where the fans want to fire a defensive coordinator, it's always like, okay, well then who is going to be the guy who takes over for the guy, right? And so defensively, and that was the whole thing. It was like, let Joe Witt call the defense. And now it's Jerry Gray. Let Jerry Gray call the defense. Well, but the defensive backs don't seem to know where they need to be either. Adrian Amos does not seem to be an impact player anymore. Russell Douglas can't find the football. Now, part of that is I don't know that Jason or that Russell Douglas is a full-time outside corner. So Rudy Ford looks like he's a starting safety pretty soon. I think Russell Douglas is your other safety next year because I don't think Adrian Amos is going to get paid in Green Bay. Darnell Savage is playing in the nickel, although I don't know what that situation is either because it seems like Keyshawn Nixon is just outplaying him. And by the way, Keyshawn Nixon as a returner, my goodness. Like the first one was so bad. He drops it in the end zone, and rather than just dying on it, he takes it out, and it's got to be from the 5. But then another one he takes from 5 yards deep. He returns it to the 50. He had multiple 40-plus yard returns on the kickoff, set up the Packers touchdown with it. So that guy is on this team. I underestimated him. I have to do the Shaq like, I have to apologize. I was unfamiliar with your game. Rudy Ford and Keyshawn Nixon are nice players. Brian Gutekunst deserves credit for finding those players, for bringing them in, and now they're getting a chance to make an impact. But where is Devontae Wyatt been? Where has that guy been? Where is the Darnell Savage move 6 weeks ago? Where was the Rudy Ford move 6 weeks ago? Like, I just don't understand it. And at this point in the season is basically over. It's a lost year. So now is the time to try these things. I understand it would have been a bigger risk before when you were still playing for something. To just say, okay, this team can get it turned around. They can figure it out. And you have faith in your guys. That ends now. Because it's over. The season's over. So you need to find out what these guys are. You need to find out the players that can actually be a part of your long-term vision here. Someone in the chat, great point. Justin Hollins. They're bringing Justin Hollins. He practiced like a day. He gets a TFL in the run game, gets a sack. That guy, man, why did the Rams just like let that guy go? They need him. I was impressed with the pressure one-on-one that the Packers were able to get on Jalen Hurts against a really good offensive line with Kingsley Enagbare and Justin Hollins and Jaron Reed gets a sack and Preston Smith made some plays. But then you lose outside contain. Jalen Hurts takes off. Then you have your first round pick get juked out of his shoes. Darnell Savage misses tackles. Adrian Amos, the speed it's just waning. It's waning. Maybe in a different scheme, he would look better, but this is supposed to be his scheme. This was theoretically at least the same tree of the scheme that he was playing in Chicago when he was at his best in Chicago. I think his best was in 20 when he was in Green Bay, but his best in Chicago was in this defense. So I ask again, what is the deal? What is the deal? And the Packers need to find out. They need to find out now. They need to find out now because they need to make these decisions long-term about the coaching staff. What are these guys good at? What kind of coach can come in and maximize what they are? Well, you need to know what they are in order to make those kinds of decisions. So you need to find out. You need to make some changes. Try some things. Give them opportunities to fail because now you can't go down playing the way that you've been playing in these games. You just can't because the season's over. So what does it matter? If you make a change, you try something, it doesn't work, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? They need to try some things and they need to get something figured out, even if it's just a kernel of an idea of a nothing. Something. Just like this much they got to find. You have to find meaning in the rest of the season, and that is the meaning for this team on defense. Who are the guys you can actually count on? What are they good at? And what can you build on moving forward? Because it's not this core. Clearly, some changes need to be made. Maybe some positions need to change. And I still cannot get over the fact that they just replaced Mike Patton with Joe Barry and kept everyone the same. Like all the other stuff was just totally locked up and buttoned up. And the only thing that needed to change was the guy at the top. Even though you're making a total schematic change. Like it is not the same core philosophy, Mike Patton to Joe Barry, but you kept all the same position coaches. So I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now. The idea was continuity, and instead what you got was regression and a stale identity. And now you got to fix it. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. The only way you should be playing daily fantasy, by the way, because you're just playing against the number. PrizePicks sets a line, and they give it to you. And you decide if you think that player is going to produce more than that number. That's it. Aaron Rodgers, over 220 yards passing. Okay? If you think he's going to have more, he didn't. 140 in this game. Great. You put 2 or 3 of those guys together. You can put up to 5 together and give yourself an opportunity at up to 10 times your money. No competing against other people, just the number. That's it. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up today and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKED ON. You put $100 in, they'll give you $100. Put 50 in, they'll give you 50. The promo code LOCKED ON. And thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast, my show. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reaction, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. I am curious to see what the situation is with Aaron Rodgers. Because they have a bye. They play the Bears coming up. Who knows if Justin Fields is going to play in that game. The quickness with which the Packers ruled out Rodgers for the rest of the game, to me, suggests an injury that would be tough to come back from in a week. I don't want to speculate on that, on what the injury is or how serious it is or anything like that. If Rodgers can play, I said this last week, he should play. But there is no benefit to Rodgers gutting this out anymore. Let the thumb heal. If he's got cracked ribs, or if he has any injury that was bad enough for him to not even have a question, he goes in the locker room and bang, it's done. Whether or not Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback next year, it doesn't matter. You wait now because you're not playing for the playoffs. You're playing for continuity. You're playing for reps. You're playing for pride and all that stuff. A little bit less than on defense because you know who your guys are on offense. You know what your identity is offensively. Or at least you know the scheme, and the scheme is real. The scheme works. We know the scheme works. So if Rodgers is going to have to gut out some game against the Bears, don't. It's Jordan Love time. Now, I'm not ready to say it's Jordan Love time forever, but I do think we need to consider the possibility that Aaron Rodgers has played his last snap as the Green Bay Packers quarterback. That is a possibility. That is something that we should consider as a reality. Again, whether or not that should happen, I don't know, but it could be real because if he's hurt and Jordan Love plays this week, then you have a bye. In 2 weeks, it will be the case, most likely, that the Packers are something close to mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. At that point, there is no reason there is no reason to put Aaron Rodgers back on the field. Whether or not he's going to play next year in Green Bay or not, there's no benefit to him or anyone else. He's not chasing any special records or team records or anything like that. It is about seeing if the flashes of what we saw in Jordan Love tonight are real. Because if they are, that changes everything for you moving forward and the calculations that you're making. And giving him extended playing time and game plans and allowing defenses to plan for him, and then you react to the plan and all of that stuff. All of those things factor into what he is, what he can be. So this might be it. Now, Rodgers could come back next year and Jordan Love might get traded, whatever. Like all that certainly could happen. But I think if we just want to look at the short run, I think there is certainly a non-zero chance. This is the last time we see Aaron Rodgers in 2022. If he's hurt, if he needs 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get better, there's no reason for him to play again. There's just not. So you put him on IR, you let him heal up, you let him get a head start on his whatever he has planned this offseason, and you see what you have in Jordan Love. That's the best path forward for the Packers. Even if Aaron Rodgers is your guy next year, and he very well might be. We don't know. We don't know what he wants to do. But you cannot let him make that decision. You have to do what's best for the organization. Now, if he's ready to go this week, I doubt it. But if he is, great. He should play. But we are approaching the moment when it is time to just hand the rest of the season to Jordan Love. And this was a glimpse at it. And you could hear it in Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico's voice on the broadcast. They were excited about it. They wanted to see Jordan Love. And when he played great. I did think there was the one play in the second half. We threw back to Randall Cobb. I thought he could have run with that one. I thought that, if he sees Alan Lazard on the one that he tried to get over the top to Christian Watson, that could have been a touchdown. Those are plays he's going to see and can learn from. But he threw with anticipation, with zip. Man, it was impressive. Even if it is, Eagles fans and Bears fans and Vikings fans will say, oh, prevent defense. That cover 2 hole shot to Aaron Jones is a dot. That is a dime. Play action, middle of the field, strike to Christian Watson. That is a place Aaron Rodgers has not wanted to throw the ball, especially off play action. That's essential in this offense. And Jordan Love did it. 3rd down. Deep, far hash out route with zip and rhythm and timing. He got to his checkdowns. He didn't get hurried. He escaped the pocket. Man, all of this is so exciting to see. It's so exciting to see. I would love to see more of it. If you want to get excited about something for the Packers the rest of the way, get excited about Christian Watson, who is a bona fide star, and get excited about seeing Jordan Love and whatever he is. At least we'll know. Whatever he is, it is going to be exciting to see how this all plays out. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, Expert Tuesday. How you doing on Wednesday, crossover Thursday, and our live show on Friday. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers. And anytime you want to come hang out with us live, like we are right now on YouTube, you can do that, 920. No, you can do that by going to us and subscribing. I fell into the old exit. You can come find us on YouTube on the Locked On Packers YouTube page to stay Locked On Packers.